So I'd like to talk to you about this exciting initiative that we launched 2 years ago. So hands up if you're already campaigning for the plant-based treaty, if you've already taken some action. So that's awesome. Right here we have some signs where you could sign the octopus petition and then tick off endorsing the plant-based treaty. Today I want to talk to you about becoming a vegan lobbyist. For example, have you lobbied against the ag laws? Some people have done that, that's great. Have any of you contacted your counselors to ask them to sign the plant-based treaty? Have any of you taken that action of emailing your counselor? So that's great. If you haven't, don't worry, we're going to go over it today. Through the plant-based treaty, you can become a plant-based advocate and lobbyist. I hope this talk will spark a bigger interest in you to take it to the next level and call your counselor and try to meet with them. So that sort of takes it to the next level, and I hope you all do it because that is incredibly impactful. I wanted to start with a short story by Leo Tolstoy. There's this book of short moral tales, and one of them is called Esarhaddon, King of Assyria, and it's a Buddhist tale of a ruthless king who, when he's going to sleep, he dreams of how to torture this other king that he captured, and then a sage comes, pours some water over him, and then suddenly he becomes the other king. And then he goes back to sleep and he dreams of hunting, and he aims at a mother cow and her baby. And then the sage comes back, pours some water, and then he feels like he's the mother cow. So this male king suddenly feels like he's the mother cow, and he sees this biped who's shooting arrows at his little calf, her little calf. So the king learns to empathize and spread the word. So I'd like to quote from the book. It says, "Afterwards he went about as a wanderer through towns and villages, preaching to the people that all life is one. And when men wish to harm others, they really do evil to themselves." I think that's a tale that applies today. That was written in the 1800s. It applies to the climate crisis, and when it comes to our relationship with animals and nature. What goes around comes around. So I want to ask you, are you worried about the climate crisis? How many people have climate anxiety, sometimes wake up and, cold sweat, really worried? Yeah, a lot of people do. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said, "The era of global warming is over. The era of global boiling has arrived." June of this summer was the hottest on record at 16.55 degrees Celsius for the global average temperature of the planet. Also this summer, the oceans set temperature records for 3 straight months in a row. 2023, as you know, saw the worst Canadian wildfires on record. There are currently 1,000 wildfires burning, and 500 of them are out of control. Wildfires this year alone burned 10 million hectares of forest, an area almost the size of Newfoundland, without Labrador. Wildfires are currently raging in the Northwest Territories and Kelowna. A firefighter coming from Quebec said, "The sky is black everywhere. It looks like another planet." The entirety of Yellowknife and also Kelowna are under evacuation orders, and the province of British Columbia has declared a state of emergency. The Maui fires in Hawaii were the worst in America in terms of human lives lost in 100 years. The death toll so far is 111, and over 1,000 people are missing. Temperatures in the fire reached 1,000 degrees. So they're not even recovering bones and looking at dental records and DNA samples. And they've only identified a handful of those the bodies which they recover, the little bits. These impacts are going to get worse and worse if we carry on with business as usual. The planet will become unrecognizable. We know the major causes are energy, food, and shelter. And we know the solutions are renewable energy, a transition to a plant-based food system, and rewilding. which is why more than 100,000 people have signed the plant-based treaty, nearly 3,000 groups and businesses, and 21 cities, including Los Angeles, Edinburgh, Norwich, and so forth. So what is the plant-based treaty? Well, we have two goals. One goal is to create pressure for a global agreement. Another goal is to have local implementation at cities, hospitals, schools, universities, prisons, seniors' homes, community centers, everywhere. So the goal is to have people engage in menu change, but also rewilding. So I wanted to talk about a few of the successes. So one of the cities that endorsed is Didim in Turkey. And they organized the first vegan festival in that town with 200,000 people visiting. Check them out on Instagram, Didim. They opened a plant-based treaty branded kiosk at a seafront promenade serving only vegan food. In Edinburgh, which is the capital of Scotland, the city is developing a food strategy by 2024. And as part of their endorsement, they are addressing school menus, making festivals vegan, adding vegan menu options to the council premises, delivering vegan workshops and community education, and also spreading the word about the plant-based treaty to their sister cities. Apparently Edinburgh has a lot of sister cities, including in New Zealand, Dunedin or something in New Zealand also, but they have a lot of sister cities. In Norwich, the endorsement of the plant-based treaty led to vegan options added to menus at public events and a commitment to create new community gardens. So I just wanted to ask you, how important are food-related emissions? Like what percentage do you think of greenhouse gas emissions come from food? And there are different figures out there, and some of them are industry influenced. So for example, the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization is very influenced by the animal egg industry, so they have been lowering the percentage from 18 to 14, and just recently to 12. There have been some exposés in Vice and Vox. But what do you think scientists in general and peer-reviewed journals say is the percentage? Yes. You've seen how much? Yeah, there was a World Bank study that said 51%. But basically in the science journals, it's often like a third. And it's contentious how to count, because they do count from 10,000 years ago when we had double the number of trees. Animal agriculture has deforested trees over millennia, and especially recently with the consumption of animals going up. Do you know, like 55, 60 years ago, in the early 60s, we consumed 1/10 of the number of animals we consume today in terms of land animals. 1/10. That's in a lifetime. We've gone up 10 times. The current figure, the latest figure, is 92 billion land animals a year. It's really insanity. So it's about a third of overall greenhouse gases. So we must tackle all the greenhouse gases. There's carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and methane, and all of them are increasing in terms of the amount of emissions every year. So it's not even staying the same, it's actually increasing. Because global meat, dairy, and egg consumption is going up every year, as well as fossil fuels. So did you know that even if we cut all fossil fuel emissions today, emissions from the food system alone would increase global temperatures by more than 1.5 degrees Celsius. The 1.5 degrees Celsius is the Paris Agreement Accord that said do not go beyond that, or certainly do not go towards 2 degrees Celsius, because that would lead to catastrophic climate change, defined as approaching tipping points and crossing tipping points. That's how you define catastrophic climate change. So we already have a climate crisis, and we're approaching catastrophe in terms of crossing tipping points. So a plant-based diet is the most friendly diet and has been repeatedly endorsed by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change in UNEP. So Jacinta does somebody have that beautiful figure with the blue? This is from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. And I wanted everyone to see that. The vegan diet is the best diet. It's the optimal diet in terms of reducing greenhouse gas emissions. So 8 gigatons equivalent per year would be saved if people went vegan. If they adopted other diets like vegetarian, it's much less. If they had a Mediterranean diet, if they had a climate conscious diet where they try not to eat red meat, terrible. The vegan diet by far is the optimal diet. And that's only greenhouse gas emissions. When you count land use, all the land that's wasted for animal feed and grazing, then the amount more than doubles. Okay, so I wanted to spend the rest of the time on how you can get involved and make a difference. So there are 3 ways in terms of what our campaign is doing right now. The first way is to get involved in person, face-to-face, community organizing. So in Toronto, we have weekly meetings for the plant-based treaty. We have a potluck and an organizing meeting from 5 to 8 p.m. at Wishbone Animal Rights Lab. And a lot of people here have gone. Milena is here from Mexico to study French, and she's come to our meetings. So just welcome Milena. That's awesome. Woo! We got Louise, we got Jacinta, we got Con, we got Day. Yeah, so everyone except Arnie got to come to our meetings. So yeah, everybody's come to our weekly meetings. So we are planning to hold film screenings in different wards. So that was the advice somebody gave an environmentalist who passed the fossil fuel treaty in Toronto. She said, oh, we went to all the different wards, had film screenings, and invited the local community. So they would go to a community center or library. So we're going to copy that. So that's one of the things we're planning for this year. If you'd like to help, please contact us, come to our table, contact me anytime, or anyone here. A second way is to do online advocacy where you can make a real difference. What you do is you go to our website, plantbasedtreaty.org, and under Act Now, you go to Canada, and there's a couple of tools right there. You can send an email wherever you live in Canada to all your councillors. So if you live in Toronto, I think there are 25 councillors. So if you fill out that form, it goes to all the councillors. If you live in Burlington, it's fewer, like maybe it's 10 or so councillors. And then you can also write to your MP. So you fill out your details and you send it to your MP. A third action you could take, and the one I'd like to end with, is you can call your councillor. So that's next level lobbying. So you call your councillor and you ask for a meeting. And try to have an in-person meeting ideally. You can do it on Zoom, but in-person is the best. To illustrate how easy this is, we're going to have a role play with Jacinta and Louisa. Woo!
Ring, ring, ring. Hello, Councillor McDonald here.
Hi, Councillor McDonald. This is Louisa, and I'm a constituent of your office.
Oh, hi, Louisa.
I'm actually calling to ask you to sign the plant-based treaty. Have you heard of us?
Plant-based treaty? No, what is that?
Well, we are a plant-based treaty. It would allow us to reforest the earth. Essentially, we are trying to lobby that a plant-based diet would fight against climate crisis. We are trying to implement this in cities across North America and the world. There needs to be a global treaty to address food emissions. And we would like you to sign and champion the treaty to help avoid a climate catastrophe. And you can sign by visiting the www.plantbasedtreaty.org.
Okay, I could do that. I'm just wondering if we could possibly meet so I could ask a few questions. Is that possible?
Absolutely meet. I would love that. I'm available in person and on Zoom.
Okay, well, let's meet in person. Are you available September 10th?
I am.
Oh, amazing. 10 a.m. At City Hall, is that?
10 a.m. works very well at City Hall. Thank you very much, Councillor McDonald.
I will send you an email confirming all of this and with the room number and so forth, but I'm looking forward to meeting you, Lisa. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, I just want to say I actually did call my counselor and it was amazing, and I've actually met with her already, and we had a wonderful, positive meeting. She's progressive. She's in Ward 9 in Toronto, and so she's very supportive, and so hopefully with a few more councillors getting on board in Toronto, it will be a lot easier. We just have to strategize for the councillors that will need more convincing, but the campaign is amazing. I love it, and I think we go in there loving it, they can tell. And yes, so good luck. If anybody needs any advice, information, definitely get in touch with us. We're more than happy to give you ideas and tips on how to meet with you, prepare to meet with the councillors. It's really good to know about them, what they're interested in, if they're an environmentalist, those sort of things will definitely be helpful.